My name is Bastian. I'm a work management expert, co-founder of the company called i.DO. We are an Asana solutions partner, and we can help you design the way you work or improve the way you already work by improving your day-to-day processes and just making sure that your team collaborates in the more efficient way. Let's talk about Agile in Asana. There's a lot of ways to do Agile in general. And as you know, Asana is made of different building blocks that you can arrange in a lot of different ways. So as you might expect, there's a lot of ways to do Agile in Asana. What I want to show you today is one example of how you would do a Scrum, for example, within Asana using a different set of projects and potentially using a portfolio. Let's have a look at that demo space. First, you can see that we have a project for the backlog, and then we have a project for each sprint. The idea is to use a project template every time you need to create a new sprint. Let's have a look at the backlog first, and then we'll come back to the sprint template. The backlog is simply a project where you can see different tickets being placed in different sections. In that case, we have to do, ongoing, and completed. There's obviously a lot of ways to do that. You can have more than 3 sections. You can also decide to hide completed tasks if you want, and you can have various automations to move things automatically. But let's just look at that very simple setup as a good starting point. Each ticket could be a task, it could be a bug, it could be a user story, depending on what you're trying to achieve. You can also decide to have a backlog for the bugs, a backlog for the user stories, and then you can have like a master backlog that mixes all of the different backlogs. It's really up to you. In addition to those ticket name and then assigning and dates, you can clearly see which project that ticket belongs to, especially which sprint it was worked on. And you can see in some cases, the ticket was worked on during multiple sprints. I know that it might not be acceptable to some people in Scrum, but in reality, it might happen. You can decide on using priorities if you want, and then you have the discussion around the sizing. Do you want to use story point? Do you want to use t-shirt sizing? It's really up to you. If you use t-shirt sizing, you might need to create some automation to map each option to a number. If you do want to have like dashboards and maybe a burn down chart or something like that. But you can easily start with a t-shirt sizing. So that's the backlog, and the backlog can be fed by a form. It can be fed by people creating tasks automatically in the project directly. It's really up to you to decide. Let's go back to the sprint. So this is one example of a sprint that was closed. So it's a 2 weeks sprint. There is a to-do, ongoing, blocked, and completed column at the top. Obviously, you can have more columns. You can have in review, you can have deployment columns and things like that. You can obviously use each task as a place to discuss with the review team, the QA team, and the developers as well. You can see the number of tasks at the top. So if you have like rules against having too many tickets in the same column, it might be a way to track that as well. And if you open the task, you will see the detail, which project it belongs to, and potentially you can see the t-shirt sizing, for example. So that's a very simple way of doing HR in Asana. And then we have the current sprint, which is sprint 11. So it's still opened, and you can see the same columns. And actually, I added a review column in that case. And as you go, you can move the tickets from one column to the other. And as we've seen earlier, some tickets might end up being worked on during multiple sprints, which in that case works perfectly. You can see at the top that there is a portfolio because I placed those sprints in a portfolio in addition to the backlog. It might be a nice way to go into that agile world by going through a portfolio. Might also help having some kind of roll-up columns if you want, like number of points or things like that, if this is something you want to track. As I said, everyone does Agile differently, and Asana gives you the flexibility to create what you want. It will not be as powerful as Jira because Jira was really meant for this use case, but Asana is flexible enough to allow you to do exactly what you want. And just going back to the backlog, you might have seen a reference to Epic. And this is something you might decide to do. You might have an additional project that represent one epic. You can have multiple epics, so multiple projects, and each ticket or user story could be multi-homed into that specific epic. If I go into it, you'll see different tickets. And again, you can have sections and things to triage and group and things like that, just to make your life easier. My goal today was only to show you that because Asana is very flexible, you can really decide to run your Agile methodology and sprints the way you want. Let us know if you need any help. We are currently working internally using the Kanban methodology, but if you're doing Scrum, we've helped a couple of clients do Scrum. And as you might know, there is new tools, new products coming on the Asana side, especially the Command by Asana product that will allow you to do development within a new version of the Asana product that might be quite interesting for you all.